Welcome back. I'm Star Connor for Insights this weekend, and I have Lieutenant Stuart Sharp with me. Once again, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Talking about a busy night. We both had a busy night. So Lieutenant, crazy enough, me and you actually went to a meth lab bust last night as we speak. Talk a little bit about that, and that was actually a big one, and I was in shock to see so many materials out there, and that was just, crazy to know that that actually happened in Alpena County.
Yeah, well, last night, and the viewers will see, how extensive the scene was. And what is most important to remember about last night is that the individual whose property this motorhome was on that had the meth lab in it, it was actually from their loved ones. The loved one was arrested downstate for manufacturing methamphetamine in possession, and they're currently lodged down there. The loved one, taking care of their people, brought their belongings up north, and luckily they were bright enough to recognize the danger signs, and some of which we've talked about in the past, and those bottles with the tubes and with the white sludge that's present. Those things are extremely hazardous, and this person was astute enough to recognize that as being dangerous and contacted law enforcement. Luckily, we were able to go and mitigate that lab and remove it from her property. But what's most important is that this doesn't just affect the person who uses the methamphetamine,
Right.
It affects the family.
Right.
It affects them financially and emotionally, and this is a prime example. This person who was trying to help their loved one had to go through probably some embarrassment, some shame, and personal danger.
Right.
They could have been seriously injured or killed.
That's what I wanted to ask you too. People don't realize the dangers of meth lab. We previously went over like explosions can happen. You can touch something that can, contaminate your body and things like that. What actually, in that case, was probably the most dangerous thing I was looking at?
As specific to an item that you were looking at?
Yes.
The one pot, which would be the bottle, pop bottle, Gatorade bottle, that does not have the tube on it, and that's the where they shake the chemicals, and it creates under pressure, and it has lithium, portions of a lithium battery in it. In exposed air, they'll ignite, and it's spontaneous combustion, very close to an explosion.
Right, and how do you guys keep yourself safe when, actually dealing with these objects? I noticed that there were, safety suits and things like that. How do you guys keep yourself safe when dealing with drugs like this?
Well, the majority of the persons that were present during the last night's event are trained specifically in responding to and abating meth labs. There's some that are trained to transport the items to a different area. A pod is what we call it, is where it's a location that we secure that item, and then it's taken away by members of a private company out of Ohio that will remove that from our state.
Right, and I remember going over the Hunt book, that annual report book. You guys caught so many labs last year, and it's only 2017, and it's only May. I can't go over the numbers of how many already in this pertaining county, Alpena County, but you guys cover 4 counties like we talked about. But how many has it been already in 2017?
I've quite frankly lost count. I believe we're at 9 labs, and that's kind of a guess. We have other cases that are related to methamphetamine, and that's through the purchase of pseudoephedrine and things that lead us, the purchase of precursors that lead us to the lab. So extremely busy. And you see last night, majority of our day and some of today is spent on one lab. So if you consider how many labs we're running into, it's eating a lot of our time up.
Right, and that goes back to budget.
It does. It's a big expense, manpower, equipment, and abating the lab itself. It's very costly to our community.
Right, and my thing is I want people to know, like I said, this is no 9-to-5 job. You called me around 9 o'clock at night. I mean, I'm not going to give any details into all that, but this is no 9-to-5 job, and people need to know the importance of, it doesn't matter. I mean, it could be your neighbor, it can be out in the middle of anywhere, and that was a prime example right there, you know, how hard you guys work out there. And I just want to commend you on the work that you guys do, and, you know, commend you for letting me know that I can come out there and actually see what's going on in this area with that. And also with that meth lab, I noticed that it was like you said, Coke bottles and different things like that. If people see things like that, they need to contact who exactly again?
I would suggest that they call 911. There is a non-emergent phone number to Central Dispatch. That's 354-911 in Alpena County. But you could dial 911 and let people know that that stuff is out there. Hunt office, the phone number is 989-356-3395. And then we are on the internet, huntteam.net.
Okay.
So what's very important is that they don't molest those items, don't jostle the bottles. They're under pressure and they could spontaneously combust, and you could be seriously injured or killed.
Now, in the case that we saw last night, you know, like you said, the people are downstate, probably busted, sitting in jail there, wherever they are. But how does it work when you guys do bust a meth lab, like per se, or whatever? I know it has its way of going. You guys to, you know, lawyers to the judge to the court. How does that work?
Right. Just like any other police department, we investigate an incident and we prepare documents, a police report that we submit to the local prosecuting attorney. The prosecuting attorney can authorize or decline charges on that event. We may or may not have made a probable cause arrest, so the person may or may not be in jail. And again, it's up to the prosecutor to authorize those charges. And at that point, the prosecutor is our attorney, if you will, and represents our case as it progresses through the court. Mostly, we deal with felony events, which belong in circuit court. They do, however, go to district court for a preliminary exam, then they become bound over, or they don't get bound over if there was insufficient evidence. And that circuit court is where a trial would occur.
All right. Well, thank you, Lieutenant, once again for that. And coming up in segment 3, we'll take a look at some of the products you guys should be aware of and stay away from when we return.